is Isaiah 19:3. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. I like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloyim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Mawan back at you with another lesson. And going into that title, all right, job cuts, all right, war on jobs, all right, which apparently, at one point, okay, Egypt, also known as America, because spiritually we are Sodom and Egypt, all right, Egypt shall fail. Everything here is going to fail, all right, and be shut down, all right. And what I'm going to play is a video, all right. I'm going to play about 10 minutes of it, no more than that, because it's a long video, all right, but you'll get the drift, maybe shorter than that, all right, but you'll get the drift. It says 1 million jobs gone, all right. The United States is facing a historical economic crisis, all right. Just listen.
Something is breaking inside the American labor market, and the numbers hit like a detonation. Layoffs have already blasted past 1 million plus. Companies are freezing hiring at the lowest levels in 10 years, and workers now spend an average of 24.5 weeks searching for a job that may not even exist. Corporate debt has surged above $13.7 trillion. Federal debt has crossed $38 trillion, and households are drowning under $1.23 trillion in credit card balances. The economy isn't cooling. It's convulsing. A silent shockwave is moving through every workplace, every paycheck, every household, and it's accelerating faster than anyone expected. The reason America feels unstable is simple. The economic data used to reassure the public is no longer connected to reality. For more than a year, officials have pushed the narrative of a strong labor market, pointing to headline job creation, while quietly revising those same numbers downward months later. When you examine the underlying data that cannot be easily massaged, layoff reports, unemployment duration, hiring freezes, and sector-level contractions, the picture is unmistakable.
This week, we're hosting a free trading and investing workshop right here in Ridgefield Park. Inside this
just started.
Hiring freezes and sector-level contractions, the picture is unmistakable. The labor market isn't cooling. It's deteriorating at a pace we haven't seen since the early 2000s. The most alarming indicator is the explosion of job cuts. Year-to-date layoffs have surged to 1.099 million, a level normally associated with recessions, not expansions. October alone saw 153,074 terminations, representing a 175% increase compared to last year. These aren't isolated events or restructuring blips. They form a synchronized pattern across every major sector. Public institutions, technology, retail, warehousing, and service-based industries are all contracting simultaneously. A genuine expansion never produces this type of uniform employment loss. Layered on top of this is the collapse in hiring momentum. The last 4 months produced the weakest hiring plans for June, July, August, and September in over a decade, signaling that companies aren't just cutting, they've stopped adding. The average monthly hiring plan number sits near 48,000, far below the healthy threshold required to absorb displaced workers. Even the headline-grabbing 283,000 hiring surge in October collapses when you subtract Amazon's temporary seasonal staffing. Without that single outlier, hiring momentum would have been the worst in 10 years. This imbalance creates a dangerous mismatch. 7.22 million job openings versus 7.42 million Americans searching for work. For the first time since the pandemic shock, there are more job seekers than jobs available. Worse, 1.93 million people have been unemployed for more than 27 weeks, and the average jobless duration has risen to 24.5 weeks. Once long-term unemployment begins climbing, it rarely reverses quickly. Historically, recovery takes years, not months. The real problem is not a lack of effort from workers. It's a structural breakdown in demand. Businesses are cutting because revenue growth is slowing, debt costs are rising, and inflation has shredded purchasing power. When companies stop expanding, the labor market loses its shock absorbers. Every subsequent layoff becomes harder to absorb.
Let me grab this preset. All right, because they're talking about a lot of debt that we're in. All right, so they have to cut off these jobs. All right, and that's all because of Esau Edom, man, because he puts himself in debt. All right, we're building all these different, he pretty much investing his money on the things for the future, man. You see, and not worrying about his actual workers at the end of the day. All right, let's grab this. This is Habakkuk. All right, 2. And I'll get straight to the point. 6. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, saying, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that laddeth himself with thick clay. All right, when you go into that thick clay, all right, it goes into basically having themselves in debt. All right, and this devil increases. You see more and more, but here it is that our country itself is in debt. Our country's over here failing, but you see the rich and the poor continually get poorer. All right, and it's all by design. It's all orchestrated at the end of the day because they want to bring in this new world order. You see. So they're basically breaking everything down from the inside out, okay? And to the point where, that global, that economic collapse will eventually come about, you see? So it's all about this damn devil making moves, to basically make himself richer, all right? As a matter of fact, let me grab this. This popped up in my head. This is James, all right? James 4, it's like your 5. All right, misuse of riches, right? Warning to the rich. This is 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasures together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, all right, which that's basically off the backs of Israelites, which is of you kept by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord Sabaoth. You see, so this devil, has heaped treasures together for himself in these last days. All right, and here it is that we're in debt, and they can't even, pay his actual workers that have created everything, man, for him. All right, because as the scriptures tell you in Nahum, man, woe to that bloody city which is built on lies and robbery. You see, everything here is established by iniquity, man, by wickedness. All right, and here it is, this devil, all right, is trying to take away everything, all our money supply, and to bring in this new world order. You see. All right, so continuing on. All right, give me 1 second. Matter of fact, let me go back to Habakkuk since I had that. This is Habakkuk 2:12, and it says, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, establish a city by iniquity. Okay, everything is gain it says, matter of fact, NLT says, what sorrow waits you who build cities with money gained through murder and corruption. Okay, now let's go back to that video.
As shredded purchasing power. When companies stop expanding, the labor market loses its shock absorbers. Every subsequent layoff becomes harder to absorb, and the system begins feeding on itself. The illusion of stability disappears the moment you look at the unedited numbers. And those numbers
See,
show the labor market slipping into
something
a
heavy that he said, the illusion, all right, of stability. All right, because this is what it is. This is all witchcrafts and sorceries that this devil's doing. You see, and he making it seem, all right, like we're in debt. They could fix all this shit up if they wanted to right away. You see, but they have an agenda, all right, and in this new world, all right, they want nothing but what? They want nothing but cyborgs, man. They want nothing but robots, all right, total in control, where they have you sitting at home, all right, and not putting in no more work. And their machines, which this is a rise of machines, basically. You see, a rise of machines in this new world order, so you can sit home, all right, and be a whole digital slave, all right, all right, and basically be lazier than ever, because America's already a lazy ass country, man. You see, that's why they have, you know, brainwashed you with this, you know, UBI, all right, universal basic income, telling you that you'll get paid by sitting at home. All right. Who the hell really wants to do that, man? You see?
deeper and more dangerous phase. Once the illusion of stability is removed, the scale of the employment breakdown becomes impossible to ignore.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you.
Impossible to ignore. The United States is now experiencing a level of job destruction that aligns with deep recession behavior, not a so-called soft landing. The data from the Challenger report is unambiguous. The labor market is contracting at the fastest sustained pace since 2003, and the deterioration is accelerating month after month. The most disturbing indicator is the velocity of cuts. October's 153,074 layoffs aren't just a large number. They represent a 183% month-over-month escalation. A normal economic cycle does not generate a threefold spike in terminations within 30 days. That level of compression signals that corporate...
Let's grab another precept. This is Isaiah 9. I believe it's... Wait 1 second. Isaiah 19 and 15. It says, neither shall there be any work for Egypt, meaning America, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. Okay, so we know. Matter of fact, let me take it up one. It says, the Lord Yahweh has mingled the perverse spirit, all right, in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. You see, so all these jobs at one point is going to be done away with, man. All right, and that was all prophecy. You see, because that's what this devil's plan is to do, man, to take away all these jobs, man, and then have you begging, all right, to go back to the ways of life. You see, so let me grab also this. This is 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. Second Ezra, the 6th chapter, verse 22. And it says, let me grab it. Yeah, I'll take it for 22. And it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Okay, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall suddenly be afraid. All right, so the places that were once, you know, filled with people working, all right, the places that were the storehouses that were once filled with all the benefits that you wanted, your food, your drinks, all right, all of that's going to be taken away, man. It's going to appear unsown, which that's what's going to come in the way of, you know, when this society collapse, all the looting that's going to happen. All right, but also in the spiritual sense, man, that little by little, everything that you have seen that was open, all right, is going to now be closed, because there's going to be no work in Egypt. And you see that now. You know, you'll go to a store or a certain place where you used to see mad people going to, all right, and all of a sudden this store is closed, you know, out the woodworks, out the blue. All right. I went to a store not too long ago to the mall. All right. And, I was trying to get some clothes for the little one. All right. And all of a sudden, this store is just completely closed. And this is a store that was making money, absolutely was making money, because, the clothes that was there was cheap. Children need clothes all day long. Every single, month, there's always people looking for children's clothes, but all of a sudden it was gone. You see, just like you're starting to see all these banks disappear little by little, all these major corporations, little by little, they're disappearing. You'll hear about it on the news every single day. 50 major stores closed, this month, and 100 major stores closed that month. You see, showing you that Egypt is failing little by little. Okay, and it's all designed from the inside. It's all designed by these elites. Okay, continuing on.
Corporate leaders are preparing for something far worse than a minor slowdown.
And what they're preparing for is this new world order, man. In order for that new world order to come into play, all right, you have to get rid of that old world order. So everything that was in the old ways, all right, is going to be taken out of the way for them to usher in that new way. Okay. And then these corporations have to be shut down to bring in these new smart cities, 15-minute cities. Smart cities, so like 15-minute smart cities, all right, for them to set up, newer ways in these stores to bring it all digitally. You see, this is why you see in these places, disappear little by little, and then you see just a major takeover of all their technologies, because we're in that fourth industrial revolution, the Internet of Things. You see.
0.99 million. Surpassing every pre-pandemic year going back to the aftermath of the Great Recession. Even more alarming.
And that's what we're about to enter into, man. We're about to enter into a recession 7.0. Okay? Literally. Representation of completion, man. You see? The Lord's going to bring a heavy recession upon this place. All right? Which eventually that recession will never return to what it used to be. There's not going to be no coming back from that recession. All right. Once this thing happens and this collapse happens, all right, which is made to collapse the dollar bill. All right. They're going to try to come with a newer world. All right. But Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is going to what? He's going to intervene, man. He's going to lift that standard upon these people, man. All right. So that their enterprise cannot perform, what they want to perform, their duties. Okay.
Sizing has become. Government entities alone have eliminated 37,000 positions, a rarity outside large fiscal crises. The technology sector, a consistent job creator for more than a decade, has slashed 141,000 roles. Warehousing removed 90,000. Retail wiped out 88,600, and service-based industries cut another 63,000. This is not isolated weakness inside a single sector. This is synchronized contraction across the backbone of the U.S. economy. The structural nature of these cuts is further confirmed by the surge in organizational downsizing announcements. October saw nearly 450 separate employers announce formal layoff plans, up from 400 the previous month. The fourth quarter is typically a period.
Let me see something on the chat real quick. How many jobs are being laid off a day? Let's see that. All right. 1 second, is loading. I'll put how many jobs are being laid off per day in America. Let's just see what it says. All right. Whew. It says, according to the data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in August 2025, there were about 1.725 million layoffs and discharges in non-farm jobs in the U.S. seasonally adjusted for that month, just in that month alone. So imagine how many jobs are being laid off daily. Okay, how many jobs are losing, are pretty much being taken off the market on a daily basis. If you divide that by 30-day month, it's roughly 1,700, and it says 1,725,000. Okay, divided by 30 equals 57,500 layoffs, discharges per day. So you have literally roughly 60,000 jobs being discharged and laid off daily in America, man. That's wild, you see? So a rough estimate is about 60,000 jobs per day are being laid off or workers discharged nationally, non-farm. That's non-farm. Okay. Now imagine the farms, which is your resources, man. You see? If you'd like to break down by industry or compare it to historical averages, I can pull that too. Yes, let's see what that says. All right. Here are some breakdowns of layoffs and discharges in the United States based on recent data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? It says key national figures. In August 2025, there were 1.7 million. Not even saying nothing. Pretty much the same shit that was just saying in the other one. Look at this. It says leisure and hospitality, 2,000, almost 3,000 in 2024. All right. Private education of health services, 2,200. All right. Professional and business services, 5,000 basically. Manufacturing, 1,500. And this is all in 2024. So imagine now. It's higher than what it is, and it's still rising. Okay, construction 2,000, information 400,000, 400,000. Man, matter of fact, Slovakia is even more than that. It says no, I read it right. Yeah, no, I read it right. Nah, that's got to be more than that, because it says 14. It says like manufacturing. It says 1,439, but it says 1,000 in parentheses, man. All right. So yeah, no, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 1,400. I was saying it right. I thought they were trying to add thousands to it. Also, that would have been even worse, But you get the drift, man. See, and this is all orchestrated from the elites. Okay, and here it is. People think that we're going to go back to normal. Here it is that these people still trying to find mirth in the land. And all this shit is happening right in their faces. This is why you got people still trying to make mirth. People they're committing suicide. People trying to drink themselves away in bars. People turning to drugs because of the sorrows that awaits these people, man. You see, this is why we got to get the hell up out of here, yo. Okay. Just as the scriptures say, if for the elect's sake that days should be shortened, right? There will be no flesh saved, man. Regardless of them trying to turn us into transhumanism, all right? Just imagine, man, people losing their jobs. We wouldn't be able to make it out here, man. You see, no flesh will be saved. We probably off every single one of ourselves, man. Everybody will off themselves out here, because you got this devil that's taking away, the way of living, okay? And they're already screwing you in your pay and things like that. So, put it together. All right. Let's continue on that video.
Fourth quarter is typically a period when companies avoid bad optics. Yet the pace of cuts now mirrors the urgency seen during financial distress periods. Historically, this type of fourth quarter downsizing precedes full-scale recession recognition. Equally important is what these cuts represent. Cost containment pressure, not efficiency gains. Companies confronting rising debt servicing, declining revenue growth, and shrinking consumer demand are eliminating workers to prevent balance sheet collapse. This is not innovation. This is triage. Taken together, these numbers reveal an economy shifting from expansion to contraction at extraordinary speed. The job market is no longer absorbing shocks. It is transmitting them downstream. And as every major sector reduces headcount simultaneously, the system loses its stabilizers, setting the stage for even more severe economic consequences. The collapse in employment isn't happening in a vacuum. A second force is accelerating the damage. The rapid, unregulated integration of artificial intelligence into core business operations. For decades, automation replaced physical labor. Today, AI is replacing cognitive labor. Administrators, analysts, coders, project coordinators, customer support teams, and back office infrastructure that once formed the spine of American employment. And unlike previous technological transitions, this one is happening at a speed the economy cannot absorb. The October data reveals the scale of disruption. 31,000 layoffs were attributed directly to AI adoption in a single month. More than...
Give me a second. I'm going to put my arm down for a little bit. You could just still listen, though.
Any documented month in modern U.S. labor history. Year to date, AI-driven cuts total 48,000, and these numbers represent only what companies publicly acknowledge. Many firms quietly reclassify these cuts as restructuring, masking the true impact of automation. The displacement is accelerating, not plateauing. Companies are deploying AI aggressively because cost-saving incentives have never been higher. With corporate debt burdens exceeding $13.7 trillion, interest expenses climbing, and margins being squeezed, replacing a $60,000 employee with a $5,000 per year. AI system is no longer a strategic decision. It's a survival reflex. This is why entire departments are being eliminated rather than downsized. Once AI begins handling the workload of 10 employees, that labor demand disappears permanently. The most concerning element is the asymmetric impact. AI is not only cutting jobs, it is preventing new ones from being created. For every role replaced, future vacancies that would normally open during expansion cycles never materialize. This suppresses hiring pipelines, depresses entry-level opportunities, and intensifies long-term unemployment. The result is a widening gap between job seekers and available roles, especially in white-collar fields.
You know they some devils. The fact that they not even trying to pay out no unemployment. See, that's why they trying to bring all this AI in, because then they cut off that unemployment. Because America's already become lazy. You got people on disability and shit like that. You know, people that live off these government, assistance. Okay, they live off of unemployment. You got people that'll just go work for fucking 6 months and then accumulate enough time and then go right back into unemployment. You see, that's why these devils doing all these things, man. Making it harder for you to live in society. All right, I'm gonna play about another 2 minutes out of it, because you get the drift.
Economists have warned that once automation outruns labor absorption, the market enters a structural inversion. That inversion is now visible in the data. The mismatch between 7.22 million job openings and 7.42 million active job seekers grows as AI erases mid-skill positions that once filled the middle of the economy. The effect compounds every month.
Okay, why should you get one of these? I mean, apart from having over 21,000 games and 23...
Every month, AI was sold as a productivity revolution. In reality, it has become a labor market accelerant, multiplying the damage caused by an already contracting economy. As companies automate their way through financial stress, the shockwave cascades directly into unemployment lines.
And see, it will make it that much easier when they give you that, that's why this devil wants to put that RFID in you, man, because AI is already AI is another level right now, to the point where it's almost able to function just as much as a human. All right. So imagine when they're able to put in that RFID in you and then tap into your thoughts, man. See, they can make their AI stronger and stronger to the point where it's pretty much stronger than a human. There shouldn't be no damn computer that's stronger than a human, man, when a human is the one that created it, you see? But this is the little strategies that these devils do behind closed doors, man. Shit is wicked as hell, okay? That whole creation of AI, man, that creation is crazy as hell, man. All you gotta do is go look at iRobot, that movie with Will Smith. You see, we're at that stage, we're at that level. where a robot can think for itself, man. You see? And because it's thinking off of Jake's thoughts, all right, they're able to, you know, tap into your thoughts and you know, Jake is the salt of the earth, man. Scriptures say Jake is the former of all things, you know, so everything comes and starts with Jake, all right, and pretty much they'll have their own little creation, you know, trying to play the role of God, basically, you know, to be able to think for you, man. You know, you're not gonna need Jake no more. That's why they want to depop your ass out of here, man, because they don't need Jake no more. Once they tapped into your thoughts, all right, and you have become that digital slave, all right, he gonna take all the information that he can, all right, and be able to download it into a computer, download it into a USB, all right, and then put it into these damn into these robots. You see, shows you that in the movie Chappie, you know, and then, you know, our thoughts will never be forgotten, and then they'll just turn this shit into their world. It'll be a white man's world, you see, with no Jakes in it, all right, and then they will be able to erase the memory of Israel, man. You see, like it tells you in Psalms, the 83rd chapter. Let me grab that real quick, and I'm pretty much done with that video, all right, because it's literally a 30-minute video, but you get the drift on it. You see what they're trying to do, what they're saying, and why they're cutting off all these jobs, and Egypt is failing, man. All right, because it's all designed. All right, this is Psalms 83. Okay. And 2, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. All right. And yeah, they have lifted up their head with things like this, man. You see, it says they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and have consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. All right. For they have consulted together with a one consent. They are confederate against thee. You know, every one of these damn nations are against you, man. And all these, this is why when they sit at the round table, man, you never see anybody representing Israel. You know, there's no one there to speak for Israel. That's why you have to turn to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And we're not talking about these small hatters that's out there right now. You see, because they're not the real ones. All right, those are the imposters. All right. But this is why we need Yahweh Shai to come back and establish righteousness on earth. Because see, he gonna be the governor of the world, you see, globally, that's gonna be able to, you know, establish righteousness on the earth. These devils are not, they ain't doing nothing but trying to establish wickedness and take you out of the picture forever, you know, to the point where they just, you know, you're just a digital ass slave. They're going to use you when they need you and then kick you to the curb. And then the rest of these machines are going to do it for you, man. You see, it's bugged out. All right, let's just go to this and I'll end it with this. All right, Ecclesiastes 13 and 3. 12 and 3. And it says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble and the strong men shall bow themselves, the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Yeah, so the grinding is going to be low. You see? And you see it with this video, how it's being taken away from you little by little, all these jobs, because the word grinder goes into employment. Okay? It says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, all right, and that being high is what? Okay, these governments, man. It says, and the fears shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail. You see, because at once everybody had a desire to be able to build a multi-million-dollar company. You know, everybody had a desire to try to make it in this land of opportunity, you know, and make all these companies to be able to be successful. But the desire of this place is going to be done for, man. Ain't going to be no more desire. They took it away from you by building AI and building all these different, you know, technologies and all these different machines, you see? And that's what you see happening before your eyes, man. This place is being brought to naught, as the Lord said, man. All right. This great city is going to be destroyed. Every single thing that's built in this place, man, is going to be destroyed and brought down because of its pride, you see, that they live in. And especially these elites thinking that they're playing the role of the Lord, man. And what's the scripture say? That their inward thought is that their houses are going to continue forever. You see? But the Lord is going to intervene and destroy this place, man. All right. So it says, and desire shall fail because man goeth to his long home and mourners go about the streets. Okay. So, hey, man, this place is in for a big surprise, man. And you niggas out here that still haven't understood this word, all right, and think that we're going to continue going back into life and things are going to get better, this is why you're going to be destroyed with it. This is why you're going to disintegrate out here, man. All right, because you believe in this damn devil. And here it is. He's just bringing nothing but shame and confusion to you because you're constantly, you know, let me grab the scripture. This is Psalms, I believe it's in the 20th chapter. All right. 20 and 7. Some trust in chariots, some in horses. All right. And horses represent power. You see, these people represent in their powers. Okay. In the powers of these elites and the power of America, you know, but we will remember the name of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. You see? So these people trusting in these chariots, trusting in these horses, all right, is going to be their confusion and their shame, according to Isaiah the 30th chapter, man. All right. Everything here is going to be done for, man. All right. Some trust in chariots and some in horses. Okay. But we will remember the name of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay. Let's just grab that real quick for edification's sake. All right. This is Isaiah 30. And matter of fact, let's grab from 31. Okay. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. You see? So because these elites had the power to practice these things, they had the power to rule the earth. All right. You think that that's your God. You see? It says, they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You see? It says, yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses are flesh and not spirit. When the Lord Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they shall all fail together. You see? And why? Because you trusted in oppression, man. You believe that this nation was going to save you, man. All right. This is 30 and 12. It says, wherefore, in Isaiah, wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. Okay? Man, these people is in for a ride of their life. All right, for trusting and these devils, man. All right, let me see something. I had something in my mind too. It just slipped my mind. I think it was, I got it off of 31. Give me 1 second. Man, I had it right in the tip of my tongue. All right, but it's pretty much the point, man. The point has been made. All right, at the end of the day, these people are not, they are not the Lord, man. They are nothing but flesh. All right, they are not spirit. Okay, everybody that helps these devils, all right, they're all gonna fail together at the end of the day, because they never acknowledged Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, not even understanding that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua has given them the power to build these things, you know. But see, that's the beauty of this thing, that the Lord created this devil just to destroy him, man, because of his great pride. You know, the pride of thine heart has deceived thee, you know. And this devil has that mentality: who shall bring me down to the ground? The Lord is what's going to bring you down to the ground, right? What did he say? Come sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. You see, you're going to sit in confusion. All that is going to come back upon your own head, man. All your devices, you know, all your schemes, you see, all your everything that you put together, all right, is going to come back and destroy you the same exact way that you tried to create it. All right, the Lord's going to end up using it to destroy you. You see? So that's the point. So Lord willing, you will edify. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Kol Elohim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the whole full elect, the scattered abroad, the Akim and the Aquat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom.